BenFlyingRetro, and I'm embarking on a quest to purchase every classic GI Joe comic from the original 80s and 90s Marvel run.
Warning.
Hunting down individual issues from every corner of the globe in whatever order the universe decides to give me. Join me and my pal Steve every week as we discuss my latest find. Welcome to Chasing Joe. Chasing Joe. Oh, I am wearing a jumper that is mimicking a Japanese credit card. I'm here to spend my GI Joe credits. I'm BenFlyingRetro. I'm joined by my good buddy.
That's Job 7-8er.
Oh, what's that? That could be something. It looks like what they do in Big Trouble in Little China, or is that? It's more this.
I think it's what those aliens do in Dude, Where's My Car, but...
Look at the wide-angle lens on that. That is cool. I'm ready.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Flock to YouTube so you can check out Ben's wide-angle lens.
Now, you do keep saying that. You're like, oh, for the listeners, Ben is doing this right now. And I forget that this is being listened to. Get back to us in the comments. Are more people listening? Are more people watching?
I'd like to listen to a podcast. I don't like to have to be holding the device. I like to just stick it in my ear holes and listen to the melodious sounds of my favorite podcast artists.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
man. But if you're listening, you can't see this jumper, and you probably need to.
It is glorious. Check that out.
I mean, if I went into a store, I could pay for something, just like, lean in.
Put yourself on the card reader. Doot.
Yeah. Look, S-Jubs, last episode, I said this is a special episode. Do you know why this is a special episode? Have you got any inkling? It feels like a normal episode.
If I hadn't had any inkling, but let's start the story all the way at the beginning, Ben. What is special about episode 33 of Chasing Joe?
Let's row all the way back to the boathouse, and we can begin this tale. It starts on Instagram. I received a message from a chap called Brad, based in the US, and I was like, oh, what's this? And it was a video message. I was like, okay, let's see what this guy's got to say. And it was a beautiful message to this channel saying how much he likes to watch the show with his daughter, a shared viewing experience, and that he would love it if we could talk about the first ever issue Brad got from the spinner rack back in the day. Now, requests, I love requests, I'm open to requests, but the very nature of this show makes requests difficult. But as often happens, the universe and the moon and the stars all aligned, and it just so happens that the issue Brad wanted us to talk about came like 3 weeks ago from a Whatnot stream. I think you call that serendipity.
I don't know what you call it, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I was like, oh my days, I would be delighted to discuss this issue, Brad. So this whole episode is for you, my friend, and your daughter. Thanks so much for getting in touch. It touched my heart. Often I sit down with you, S-Jubs, and I feel like we're almost just having a Skype conversation. And I do sometimes forget that, we are putting this out there and it is being consumed. And I, for one, love the comments. I love all of that stuff. Don't you? I mean, that's why we do it, isn't it? To stimulate conversation about this beloved IP. Why do you do it, S-Jubs?
Well, the comment section is definitely a dimension to it. And to that end, the most recent episode of GI Joburg, we decided to look through some comments on our recent videos, and mine tended to be comments that were on Chasing Joe episodes.
Wow. Is that a different...
curated a thoughtful bunch of of regular commentators, and I do
Are we
appreciate.
GI Joburg's dirty little secret? Are we the Splinter Cell? Are we the offshoot?
out.
Are we rebels? Maybe. What do you think? We have a different listenership, viewership.
Ever so slightly. I
Okay.
think there are fans of what GI Joburg does, that anything that pops up in their feed from this channel, I mean, we're so grateful that we've got people that actually like this malarkey that we put out. But thank you amazing people. So there is a core group, but I think there are distinctions. There are a few that are Chasing Joe fans primarily, and might catch the odd GI Joburg video maybe, but they're here for you, Ben. And
Wow.
then to answer the first part of that question, like what is it about Chasing Joe that's exciting for me, that keeps me coming back, is the fact that I've never really had a dedicated forum for talking about the comic book and only the comic book. I mean, we go off track fairly often, but we are so focused on a particular issue, a moment in time. We're not looking at it within the context of the run. We're just looking at that. And that's quite unique, I find. In the world of G.I. Joe reviews, it's hard to get that just like snapshot of like, oh, here's a random issue of the week. Take a look at that and appreciate it for what it is and only what it is.
And you can't assume that everyone has read every issue of this book, because I was listening to your Wolf episode, and the special missions book that focuses on the Cobra Wolf, you know, only you had read it. and I was like, oh my God, Deadly Pencils, you need to run out and get that issue, because it is all time. And if you love that vehicle, that's the instruction book. You don't have the manual. How are you playing with it?
People digest G.I. Joe their own way. I'm pretty sure we have listeners who don't read the comic book. They're here because G.I. Joe. Maybe they're fans of the toys and the cartoon series, first and foremost. So, like, this is just like a way of experiencing this facet that, you know, there's never really grabbed.
And also, I have made the creative decision that I am going to... Because I thought, okay, what happens if someone just discovers this show now and they want to go through in order? I think I'm going to put on the thumbnail a picture of the issue and the issue number, just for the kind of legacy aspect of the show. So I won't ruin the episode. I think I'll wait 1 month and then I'll switch out the thumbnail, you know?
I can get behind that.
Yeah, so look, everyone that's on board this train, we're going to keep trucking, and it will be a surprise. I just figured it may be a tad confusing, not knowing. I don't know. But
YouTube celebrated its 20th year.
Wow.
I watched today the first YouTube video ever uploaded. It's me at the zoo. It's 19 seconds long, and it's a dude randomly talking about the fact that elephants have trunks.
Wow.
Random. But
I don't know.
Besides the point. Like, YouTube has a long memory. It is the #1 streaming service in the world. And it's up there as like one or two the biggest social media networks in the world. Will that be forever? Maybe, but it's certainly going to be for the rest of our lifetime. So, like, yeah, we'd like people to be able to have easy access to like their favorite episode or their favorite issue of the comic.
Yeah. We're live vlogging.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, look, now everyone wants to know, what did Brad get from the spinner rack back in the day? I assume that he got it when it came out. I don't know. I mean, your spinner racks in SA were just spinning around with all sorts on, no matter the year, it would seem. Here it is. So this was a Whatnot purchase. Again, new platform. The dude doing the show just puts the comic up and you just start bidding like crazy. So, I mean, look, okay. This man last week said, I don't care about covers. Well, care about this. Whoa! Top 10. It's top 10 cover. It's probably top 5. Oh, my days. Let me get my notes up. I'm so not organized. Here we go. Issue 46 dropped on the spinner rack January 7th, 1986. You went into 1986 feeling right if you picked this up. And if this was Brad's entry point, that's a hella issue 1. I mean, I have got my phasers on a CGC 9.8 of this Mike Zek cover. I'm going to get it because I think it will look very nice next to my, issue 63 Mike Zek cover.
Oh, yeah. Snake Eyes in the Minefield with Scarlett.
Yeah. But before I hear anything out of your mouth, S-Jubs, we have got to immerse ourselves in Brad's cultural landscape of January 7th, 1986. And I just want to let you know that I've actually upgraded my DeLorean. So before, my DeLorean was operating on, it was nuclear. But I was struggling. So now I've upgraded it to a Mr. Fusion. So let's just...
is he doing?
Time circuits
Banana
on.
peel, can of beer.
Time circuits on. It's Mr. Fusion. We are going back to January 7th at the Megaplex. Guess what was number 1? Rocky 4. Oh, my days. One of my favorite Rocky films. It has 2 training montages with 60 seconds breathing time between each montage. He has a tiny chat with his wife, and then he just goes straight back in to another montage. Now, what else was at the cinema? Spies Like Us. Good film. Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd. And what else was at the cinema? This is a good film. The Jewel of the Nile. Now, that's the sequel to Romance in the Stone, which is one of my fave films. I absolutely adore that film. Kind of a modern take on Indiana Jones. Michael Douglas. Good film. So
who was the female lead?
It was...
Passenger?
No. It wasn't Basinger. Damn it.
Basinger.
I don't know. So what if you got in your car, turned the radio on, you were going to hear Say You, Say Me by Lionel Richie. Now look, January the 7th, Christmas was literally a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully, Brad, you're playing the heck out of your NES. If you were lucky enough to get one, you could have been playing Space Harrier, Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt. Comics. Did you pick up something else on the spinner rack? You could have picked up the Transformers issue 44. So what are we on? We're on GI Joe issue 46. Transformers issue 44, Optimus Prime struggles to maintain discipline when a group of Autobots want to use the Matrix to build an army of super warriors. Wow. Okay, you could have got Daredevil issue 230, Born Again. I don't know if that's what the Disney show is referencing. Toys R Us, I mean TTBP, Transportable Tactical Battle Platform. Hopefully you got one for Christmas. I don't know if you did. But that is the cultural landscape, and there was no nuclear power involved. It was clean, S-Jubs. Now, shall we return to 2025, episode 33? Well, do you want to guess? So
I want to guess. Okay.
This was live bidding. It was a £1 start, so you can't go lower than £1. Do you think there were any other bidders?
Oh, wow.
Now, he had a bunch of this issue, and he had some of them were quite expensive. This one is a little bit battered, not going to lie. It's got quite a big tear in the back, so factor that in.
I'm going to say someone else was bidding initially and then tapped out early. So I'm going to think you maybe got it for £5?
Well, you're close. Yes, that did happen. I got it for £3. So the running total now is a hefty... I know, and this is a hot topic issue. Look at the cover, for goodness sake. Running total, £181.87 equates to 242 USD. We're climbing. That includes 8 hearty, generous donations. Let's get it out. Let's smell it. Let's start talking about the cover. Or should we start talking about your relationship with this issue? Does it mean anything? Do you have it?
No relation. I do not have it. This is my blank spot, my blind spot of GI Joe.
Are you joking?
Yeah, man.
What?
Didn't have any of the issues around this issue. I guess it's because
remedy that.
Yeah, exactly.
Top 5 cover. Top 5 for me. I'll just show the back. Big old tear. But I should have put that in my cultural landscape. Mask. I had the Condor. Joyous little green motorbike. Cool toys, man. Really cool. Obviously, very,
you're gonna get a chance
small
to have it
figs.
again if you want to. They are remaking them.
Yeah. What, the Thunderhawk? Are they remaking all the vehicles?
Just 4 of them for now. The 4 sort of heavy hitters.
Switchblade, Thunderhawk,
Switchblade,
Rhino.
Thunderhawk, Rhino, yeah, Condor.
Yeah, cool. What a logo. Now, look, talk to me about this cover. It's an iconic cover. Top 5 for me. It's the cross, yeah? It's the crisscross of the legs. They're both in power stance. It's just so amazing, that glow, that outer glow of the flames behind. Storm Shadow he's the one that's on the mission, and Snake Eyes is just there. Look at those eyes. And I would have never have thought creatively that swamp green for the font would work, but I'm pretty sure that's what makes this cover so awesome. I really am. I just think it works. Man, I need this slabbed. I know slabbing is controversial, but I need it.
Explain that. Why is it controversial, Ben?
Well, I think maybe it is. Comics are there to be read, but I think when you start getting back into the 70s, 80s, there is an element of preservation, ensuring these things are kept. I mean, look, obviously the win-win is to have the floppy, which I do have, and a lovely slabbed version that you can maybe put on the wall, or I don't know, something about just knowing that it's encased and it's pristine. I'm a sucker for it. I really am. It's an expensive hobby, but I don't want too many. I just want a couple of examples.
Exactly. Both of them happening to be Zek covers to this point. I know I'm not going to shake your love for this cover.
Oh, give me a break.
I've always had a problem with it.
What? I can't... Wait, let me just see it. I'll just give it a quick scan.
Okay.
Because I'm getting to know you a lot better in terms of your likes, your dislikes. So it's going to be an error of some kind. It's going to be... I can't see anything wrong with this.
Good. Well,
Is it something? Is it something to do? Is it something to do with Storm Shadow?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what is it?
I know why technically he's been given so much blue on his uniform.
Oh,
but it really
that's
disconnects
lighting.
him from looking like Storm Shadow.
I still read that. My eyes. He is white. He is white. That's a glow. I know what you mean. They're backlit, so that would actually make them silhouetted.
Yeah, if Storm Shadow was not picked out in that sort of blue tone,
do you think that would work? No,
it wouldn't work.
Yeah, because he'd be the same color as the light.
I've always battled to read that as Storm Shadow.
You're
Maybe
so lucky.
I came up in a time when the Cobra Ninja Viper existed. And he's that exact same blue. But if you were reading this in 1986, that character, that figure did not exist. So this is Storm Shadow. It's got to be.
So cool that you can see half the Cobra insignia there. And boy, do you need to see his eyes. You know, it's not going to have the same impact if these were two masked chumps. Like, you
get
need
nothing
look
from
at
Snake Eyes. You get
the
the stoic-
intent.
Yeah.
The intent.
That is a murderous intent right there.
And also, his feet, his left leg is in front, says everything. He's going through there first. You know?
Yeah.
Postman
So
is
much
here. Let's
plot
see
in
if
this cover. You're right. And it's all conveyed by Storm Shadow's eyes. That intensity makes this his mission. Like, this issue, the main thrust of it is Storm Shadow's thirst for revenge. Like, it's the driving energy behind this book.
Yeah. Would you like to give us a synopsis as you are
It's
kind of leading into one?
This issue is so deeply rooted in continuity that it's very dense. There's a lot going on. So I'm going to do it great injustice by giving it as brief a summary as possible. But I think if I was to not be brief, if I was to try and give a blow-by-blow, anyone unfamiliar with this issue would be lost very quickly. So I jotted it down. Basically, 90% of this issue is spent on Cobra Island. Zartan has disguised himself as Ripcord and is rescued by a Joe infiltration team. Ripcord, disguised as Zartan, is rescued from Storm Shadow by Dr. Apple and sent off aboard a Firebat. Dr. Apple is ostensibly killed when the Firebat blasts off. And then at the pit, this is the 10% that doesn't happen in Cobra Island. Actually, it's just one page. At the pit, the newly promoted General Hawk is welcomed back after a brief stint in desk status. So that is the broadest stroke of trying to get my head around issue 46. It is, of course, entitled Who's Who on Cobra Island. So the switching of Zartan and Ripcord and the sort of the hijinks that play out as a result of that, as a consequence of that. You know, Zartan being rescued by the Joes and Ripcord being saved by a Cobra Crimson Guardsman. Like, that plays into the title. That's the explanation for Who's Who on Cobra Island.
But there's no way that you're picking this up from the spinner rack and being so lost that you don't get any enjoyment out of this book, because it still reads like a little mission, a little skirmish. You know?
Action and intrigue all the way. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's invoking stuff about candy.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's breadcrumbs all over the place. But
fortunately, it's pretty well explained. Like, I think you can gather from just the dialogue between Ripcord and Dr. Apple that, yes, Ripcord is Candy's paramour, and that Dr. Apple infers from the fact that he's on Cobra Island that Candy's not with the Joes, and that she's missing, and that he's been lied to by Cobra Commander and deceived. So all the breadcrumbs are there. You just got to do your homework as a reader to try and fill in the blanks. I mean, Larry Hama's old school, man. He's always going to explain the plot within the issue that you're reading.
Oh, yeah, well, we'll get to that because that's in my notes. But look, as a special treat for Brad, we don't usually do this on this show, but we're going to page by page this, because this is a lot of people's favorite, like, 3-book arc. So let's just get into it. Opening page, that is just Marvel-tastic. The Zartan transformation, the way it's been drawn with these little bubbles and things. You've tried to explain to me how it's happening. I don't need it explained. It happens. It's awesome, and it's raining. You know I love weather. It's just a fantastic, enticing, exciting opening page. How do you feel about it? Who's drawing it?
Nice to start with the splash.
Wiggum?
Rod Wiggum is on pencils for this issue.
Yeah. I mean,
backed up by Andy Mashinsky's inks and George Roussos' colors.
So look, let's just get straight to it. Zartan's internal dialogue is spoken. If this was Batman, these would be, I don't know, what do you call them when it's not a speech bubble and it's just a descriptive...
bubbles.
Well, not even a bubble. They're like squares, thought squares.
Oh,
and,
okay.
you know, Bruce Wayne, Batman, I've got a lot of Batman books. My favorite moments are when he's, he's talking to himself in his mind and he's like, oh, Gotham, it never sleeps. I'm in the shadows. Whereas, Zartan right now is just having massive conversations with himself.
Oh, yeah.
Huge humps of dialogue. He's just on that beach, just chatting away to himself.
All of the Cobra hierarchy are Shakespeare villains soliloquizing to themselves.
Yeah.
Always.
And this, you guys brought this up a few months ago on the Skybound Zartan issue. Do you remember? When it's just, pretty much the whole issue is him flying along and he's just constantly chatting, and you were like, these are speech bubbles. Like, these are speech bubbles to no one. Like, he's just explaining for days. But look, I don't mind. It's all good. It's all good. It's all part of it. Look, some of my favorite panels here on page 3. The Joes, Flynn, Alpine, Spirit, Quick Kick, Beach Landing. It is, look, pissing it down, as we say in the UK. It is. And look, there's these beautiful little shells. Like, Flint's got his shotgun and there's like a starfish. And this to me is the start of the video game level of this issue, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The beach landing.
Atmospheric.
So atmospheric. And then we switch to the other side of the story with Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, and you've got these beautiful hanger shots. Look at how that Rattler is drawn, and look how it's inked. The underside of that wing is jet black. Two goon guards chatting away, and then, you know, your video game level has started. You got to sneak attack those two fools, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
All day long.
Did you notice that the Cobra officer is wielding Megatron? It's totally a Walther P38.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've noticed it now. I mean, what is that? A teeny Megatron?
They're mass shifting, dude. That is full-size Megatron.
They are mass shifting. I mean, and some. I think that whole page is a freaking work of art. It is beautifully inked.
What is Snake Eyes gonna do? Like, is he gonna cut this dude? Like, he's standing over the Cobra Trooper that he's just knocked out.
Bopped.
And Storm Shadow's like, let's go, Snake Eyes. We have to, you know, like...
No, look, S-Jubs, you've bopped people out before. Sometimes you just have to power stance over them and then move on.
Make sure they stay bopped.
Yeah. Oh my God! Let's turn the next page, because you got your fire bat. You've got your fire bat already, vertical takeoff, and you get a good sense of scale there. I mean, that is just drawn perfectly next to the hooded
it's a little bit
Commander.
bigger and certainly a little bit leaner. Like, it's sharper.
Okay.
The nose is sharper than the toy. The toy is quite dumpy, chibi. But
The canopy has been drawn so lovely, like all that going on with the shading and the sheen.
I'd say this Firebat on page, whatever it is, page 5, it looks a lot more like a Hurricane VTOL, actually. It's more substantial craft and a little bit more swoopy and sharp.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, knowing this is an interior, knowing that outside the rain is coming down and there's infiltration happening out there. And then we turn the page and we get Mr. Sumbo himself. 3 vertical panels. Alpine in all his glory right there. Has he ever been drawn better? He gets a nice wide. He gets a beautiful close-up. And then Quick Kick just will not wear weather-appropriate fatigues. It doesn't matter what mission, he's like, no, I think this is appropriate to be tops off.
And his feet aren't on the panel, but you know that they're bare. He's climbing up a sheer volcano face with bare feet.
Don't you love it that Alpine gets his moment in the sun there on print form? It's just so lovely. It's a great page.
Reading this, it occurs to me that this is probably Alpine's finest moment in the comic book. I mean, the moment coming up more so, but like this, in terms of panel time and just being shown off in his full glory. I mean, you get like a pack shot. His backpack is beautifully rendered. It's even got a loop where the where the pick would set.
Yeah, and look at all his carabiners as well.
Yep. The pick is present. We don't have his grapple launcher, but like the rope. I mean,
that's a toy advert right there. You are buying that fig after reading this. And apparently I wasn't. Apparently I was not. Because you said he was a US exclusive, although
no, I've been
word
corrected.
around the campfire
I think
is he may not have been.
No, I do believe I stand corrected. I think old Sedinator mentioned that Alpine was available.
Oh, he's a good fig.
He's a great fig.
He's ripe for climbing rock. Great colorway, and just such a big presence in that Sunbow show. You
know what
can't
else
deny it.
This pick is
that's
breaking rocks,
Jeez.
man.
Yeah.
This is
can you just quickly go? Does he come with? What does he come with? Does he come with a bolt blaster like Rock Viper or not?
Got that. That was his pick. These are his sort of climbing anchors. Two of them.
Yeah.
And a nice bit of cord. Though you can always extend that if you have a bit of extra cord lying around.
I always did.
Good. You must. Then, most interesting accessory to me is always going to be his grapple launcher, which eagle-eyed viewers would see that it's actually a GI Joe XMLR with a kind of a drum of extending cord and a grapple on the end.
Fixed, obviously.
Yeah. That none of that's coming off.
Yeah.
But like,
and
lovely
that's it.
to repurpose the laser gun to do this. It kind of makes you wonder, maybe the XMLR was a multi-role sort of bit of furniture. Like the hardware itself could be adaptable to fire lasers, to fire conventional bullets, or to fire a damn grapple. And then lastly, lovely, dainty, beautifully scaled Beretta 9mm submachine gun.
Yeah, wow, that is so scaled. That's great. It that does remind me. We used to call it the lawnmower, but it was one of the worst guns in GoldenEye. I don't know if you know that one. It was the grey one. It was trash. It was spray everywhere. It was underpowered. I do love the fact, just comparing him to Rock Viper, I do love the fact that Rock Viper comes with a bolt gun specific to climbing, which is going to be, you can't climb without that. But obviously Alpine's more probably firing the hook up and then hoisting himself up. But, you know, I never played with that as a bolt gun, but it is so cool. Boom! And then you go up. I feel like if GI Joe was going to do climbing now, it would all be very like free climbing. They'd have a free climber, you know, tops off. You can just imagine how he'd look. Yeah.
I don't know. Free climbing isn't as fashionable as it was like 15 years ago.
Because they all die, S-Jobs.
I think, what would they be? Squirrel suits, but yeah, they also have a high attrition rate.
Let's keep this journey going as we peel the onion on Brad's childhood book. Page 7, you mentioned this. We get this kind of very grand Hawk entrance coming down. And he's saying that he's in his battle togs. I'm back in the harness again and glad of it. And people are very happy about that.
Funny, he must have departed the team as a sort of a field commander very unceremoniously because, like, to my mind, Hawk's always been calling the shots.
Yeah, and he's always been dressed like that.
Oh, well, yeah. us latter-day GI Joe fans didn't know the OG-13 Hawk.
I love those leather gloves on the kind of Han Solo gun belt.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
he's wearing his sidearm real low.
Yeah.
That is a Han Solo tilt, definitely.
But
And
look,
he's
there's
packing two pieces. He's got a revolver on his chest and a hip holster as well.
Yeah, and a few other Joes down there: Bazooka, Gung Ho, Shipwreck, Scarlet. A few, getting a cheeky turn. But not much more to say about that page. As we move on to page 8, we are back into that GoldenEye video game, and Snake Eyes is doing a flying kick out of the car. What is that? Storm Shadow puts an arrow, and we actually see the penetration and the exit of the arrow. That's gone right through him. Oh, it's so exciting. At the moment, they are being stealth. And if you were stealth in GoldenEye, you were rewarded for that. So far, so good on this little Snake Eyes Storm Shadow mission, wouldn't you say?
Well, they're racking up a high kill count. True stealth in the art of the ninja is to
You gotta hide
get in
them
and out
bodies.
without anyone even knowing you were there. I just think about these poor, technical staff. The guy in the tower, guy just standing out in the rain. They have no idea what's coming through their way.
I can't
a pair
not
of ninja
see.
on a bloodlust. They're after Zartan, right? They're after Tommy's uncle's killer.
Yes.
But all these poor green or blue shirts have to die to achieve that goal.
Oh, look, he's just about to hit that red alert button.
Yeah, I suppose. He asked for it.
Thwip. Thwip. Oof. Right, let's get on to page 9. Oh, look at this. Look at the hiss. This book is so well drawn. The vehicles, they just look like the toy. Oh, it's so
Ben,
good.
Come on, I'm going to call that comment. That is a bit of a misshapen hiss.
Are you talking about that side panel, yeah? And the tracks, they're not going up. It makes you want to play with it, though.
It looks like it might be a command hiss, like maybe an early concept for the hiss 2.
Okay,
Got a more bulbous, I don't know, more.
I wish the
girthy-
hiss did look like that, because it looks more like a transporter, like an APC, where that side bit is going to fold out, and you get 12 blue shirts just coming out of there.
Yeah. Maybe that's where Rod was going with this, because, look, we've been treated, just dialing our minds back to his tanks being drawn by Ron Wagner. Yeah, that stuff is on model completely, geometrically perfect, whereas this is a little bit fast and loose.
Yeah, my head is all over the place today with excitement, but because I just said the words red alert, it just made me realize how much when I was younger, when I was playing Command & Conquer and Red Alert, I wished for a GI Joe version. So bad. Now, I don't know in the mobile phone game circuit if that maybe does exist. Where, if you were Cobra, you were building terradromes and defenses and you had all your hiss tanks. I also really wanted it for Star Wars.
The Clans style game.
Okay.
Which didn't really scratch the itch. If you wanted Red Alert or Command & Conquer with G.I. Joe skins...
Oh, I do.
Nah, it wasn't quite that.
It's all there. It could have happened. We got it with... I remember we got it with Star Wars, and it wasn't how I wanted it to be. But Red Alert and Command & Conquer, big part of my childhood, fantastic games.
I would just imagine that there were hiss tanks and whale hovercrafts.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a cool hovercraft, as I recall, the GDI had. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, look, page 10. Look, this is pure Metal Gear Solid. This is surveillance. This is binoculars. This is Quick Kick taking photos with a beautiful SLR. It's very exciting, very video gamey. What is that countersunk Terradrome, something under a tarp on the airfield. Looks big, also looks fast. Damn straight. Just, I
think the
appreciate the
brief-
binocular view here. I do like that.
The brief to Rod must have been draw an SR-71 Blackbird under
Yeah.
a top.
Yeah.
Because structurally, this looks like the Blackbird and not the Night Raven.
It totally does, yeah.
I mean, they're a hair's breadth apart, but like, the Night Raven has those little like canard wings at the front.
Yes, yes, yeah. They'd be
that's
poking
not-
right out.
Nah, exactly. That's not what I'm getting from this silhouette. And the
But-
way the vertical stabilizers are on the SR-71, they don't kind of kink the same way as the
Right.
Night Raven. Anyway, so like this was early 1986. I guess the Night Raven wasn't, they didn't have hands on it. The artists at Marvel.
Yeah, well, no, it is a mystery. It is a mystery what's under there to the Joes, for sure.
So maybe it's Blackbird. Maybe they've stolen a stealth.
I mean, isn't this just so exciting to read this, to imagine yourself down there? That they're just up there looking at all those, look at all of the kind of milling around and jobs being done, and I would have loved to have played out this scene. I
hadn't realized it until this most recent read through that the Terradrome on Cobra Island is set into a cliff face.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. What is that how it is? Yeah.
You can literally drive up to the top level on one side.
I love that. What
It's
a great little
interesting.
detail. I mean, visually, it makes it look so much cooler.
So they
I think.
drive Ripcord as Zartan up to the top of the Terradrome. They can literally drive right up to it. And then
Yeah.
feed him in through the sort of little hatchway.
It's cool because it's a shared moment here. You got Alpine and Quick Kick looking at the same thing that Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes are looking at.
Albeit from different angles.
Different angles, but the rain is coming down and you can just, can't we get a film of this? Or can't we get a video game of this issue? I think I said that when I discussed this issue on Talking Joe. I'm sure I was like, I need to play this comic book. I just totally do.
I've got all the figures and a Terradrome right here with me. I have.
I will get a flight to Brisbane.
and it's raining, as luck would have it. I guess
Look.
that's what I'm doing after we wrap up recording this episode.
Look, page 11, I've got a question for you. Cobra white coats. Why are we not getting a toy of those dudes? Or even, my question to you is, was there a toy made where it was a Cobra medic, or their secondary thing was like a medic? Or do they just not care about their own? And like, we don't need medics. If you die, you die.
Well, if you read his file card, the sentiment is you're better off without this guy seeing to you. But yes, in the 2000s, they came up with a character called Scalpel, who is a Cobra medic. And I suppose you could use that figure as a generic Cobra doctor or medic or,
But, okay, was he kind
the
of
guy who
half...
patches up with your wipers.
Was he sort of half fixing you and half putting some implant in you, or like, ugh?
Probably, yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
painkillers. All the medical equipment is made by the lowest bidder. That sort of kind of typical humor that would run through the file card. I don't know. I haven't read it, to be honest. But Scalpel was his code name, and you could call him a Medi Viper as well if you wanted to.
This body swap is good TV. This is good melodrama, if you ask me. Just such a simple gag, but I just really enjoy the gimmick of it. Like, there's something daytime TV about it almost. But
I buy it. It's sort of
totally.
The veneer fools the blue shirts and the sort of technical staff that are scurrying around. But like Ripcord is quickly found out by Dr. Apple. He's like,
yes,
you're not Zoltan. And why have you got a picture of my daughter in your hand?
Now, look, do you want to talk about more time for Alpine to shine? Because he gets his little moment on page 13 as he
Yes, indeed.
descends rapidly to take care of some business on the beach. And, oh, crikey, God, there's so much in this issue. Just before he does that, we get another amazing panel with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow going in down the hatch. God, it's non-stop action.
Uh-huh.
Why can't I jump into this comic book? I want to jump in and play it. God damn it, give me a decent G.I. Joe video game already. Like a proper one.
You get to see so much interior stuff of the new toy, the Cobra flight base or launch base. They don't name check it as the Terradrome yet, but you're seeing like staff diving behind blast shields as they come up. But Storm Shadow
and they don't know
over Snake Eyes' back, does a sort of somersault in the air and cuts some fools on the other side.
They're just going down a hatch into the absolute unknown. Oh, it's
the beast.
It's so exciting. Now, look, Alpine is not afraid to go full auto and just mow down some Cobras. Yeah. Easy to get taken out by one long burst of full auto, right? Mm-hmm. And he just lets rip.
Up. They made a mistake there.
They formed square. You don't form square. No, spread out, man.
But I stand by it. I don't think Alpine got a better feature than this in all of his time in the comic book series. Yeah,
I mean, look, you couldn't shut him up in Sunbow. Practically every episode, you'd get a line of dialogue from Alpine, which I didn't complain about. He was great. Where did Alpine get sent to on a Rice Pentor? Where did he get sent? What tomb did he go to look out for? He gets some good dialogue in that bit. I was talking. He and Bazooka. They're in the scary one, yeah, the crypt.
Oh no, I was thinking they were out in Siberia.
Ah, right.
And they've got to go up the back of the sort of the ice. Was this?
Yeah, but what's the
darkness?
What's the
perimeter darkness?
Ah, okay. Dude, I'm sure they go to the one where it's Dracula, no?
Vlad Tepes.
Yeah, That's so good. Oh, I'm going to watch that now.
Beachhead, we need to talk about your deodorant.
Oh my days.
Yeah, but you know what we need to talk about?
Here's what really ground my gears was I loved how slow that felt going from each location, and then they just squeeze through like 6 others, and here's the one we didn't know about. I was like, I want those episodes.
Show. Yeah,
yeah.
It would have run into like a 7 or 8 parter if we'd seen all of that.
I was explaining this to Emma the other night about Arise Serpentor Arise and how they created him and the DNA from. It's good TV. It's just good writing, man.
You're a very fortunate man, Ben, to have a wife who wants to suck up this kind of knowledge.
Dude, last night she sat and watched GI Joburg, the launch of the USSS flag. So, lucky indeed.
Nice.
And what she kept saying was... She was like, "Ooh, that is lovely water. That is a nice beach." But look, Brad, what page are we up to? I think we're on to page 16, where you've almost got the cover shot, haven't you? Where they come through the blast door.
Though no blue or very little blue on the kind of the edge lights. That actually works. It works for me that Storm Shadow is almost blacked out.
Yeah, but you want that as the cover, and you would be bang wrong.
All right.
I mean, you could have that as an alt cover, I guess, couldn't you? Yeah, but he looks more exhausted.
This is Wiggum after Zek, right? Yeah. No, Wiggum's doing it within the context of the story.
Yes.
But are we of the opinion that the cover came first, the interior art followed? So this is Wiggum inspired by Zek and not vice versa.
Yeah, I think the covers get drawn way before.
Right.
I reckon. But that is a lovely detail, isn't it? Look, he's just murked like 10 people. He is a little bit fatigued.
Yeah.
You know, he's not necessarily a superhero, or on the cover, he's very much in superhero stance, but it's just that sword angle being lowered a few inches, weighing a little bit heavier, but he's still
Less
got purpose.
intensity in the eyes, more just, as you say, fatigue.
I mean, Lady Snake Eyes, kind of, I don't know, is a feminine approach there as he comes through.
This is something that I've always said about Rod Wigham's sort of physique. They have this sort of ballet
Slender.
body. Ballet body? I don't know. Just there's a kind of a balletic style that he has to. It's superheroic in a way, but there is some slightly fayness to it. I don't know.
Right, yeah. If you get a corridor and you get a door and people know there's something behind the door and they're coming in, I go to New Hope intro straight away with the jittery rebel troopers, you know.
Yeah.
I always go to that.
Cobra Commander doesn't think that they're here to spill his blood, but I mean, how easy would it have been for Snake Eyes to just cap the head snake? It's like, sorry, I know we're here for Zartan, but I'm a GI Joe and you're the leader of the enemy. We're here. Whoops, stray bullets.
Page 17, we're back to Alpine again on the beach, and he's got some help from the best torso sculpted fig in the line, and he's whirring that nunchuck and sword, a devastatingly confusing combination of weapons to wield, I'd imagine. And nice silhouette of some whacks and thwacks, and it's good.
It's great.
And
look at his lovely little toes.
I know.
Oh.
I go straight
wondering
to
if he had shoes on or not.
I can hear John McClane saying, the terrorist I whacked's got shoe size smaller than my sister. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does look like he's got little feet there, but he springs into action and he looks fantastic. One of my favorite figs. As we go through to page 18, Brad. I mean, Brad, you must be in Pleasure Town. We are stripping this book for you, buddy. We get more corridor action. Protecting Cobra Commander. They're full auto. Crimson Guards. I love Zaymot. Like, their blasters. They're so cool. They look more like something out of Star Wars.
They look a lot better than the toys. Like I always found the guns to be like oversized for what they should be. But the way Rod has drawn Tomex and Zaymot's weapons, you can absolutely recognize that they're signature guns for these guys.
It's the fact they got sights on a kind of single handle
machine gun or machine pistol, basically.
Yeah, but it looks like the one that Princess Leia has in Empire Strikes Back. It's cool. I love it.
I don't know if I see the Princess Leia vibe to it. Like,
do you know the one I mean?
Gun is so slender.
No, sorry, I'm not talking about. Are you talking about New Hope Leia? I'm talking the one. Like, it comes with all the Black Series figs, and it's in the Battlefront game. Anyway.
Look, all I know is the 1985 Tomex and Zaymot guns are a tad oversized, but in this art, they look sublime. This is, very, very cool. Just seeing them,
it's a nice panel.
No ambiguity as to what they're firing. They're absolutely firing bullets, and they're firing them at a high rate of fire. So, machine pistol, not laser gun.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, look, speaking of that scene, the page 20, the silhouettes of the blue shirts, and it's kind of like Monster of the Week. It's almost like, what is coming down those stairs? Like, is the Hulk going to appear from round there? But Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, they come from the top. I think it's the next page, buddy. You can just imagine they can like hear something, or it's it's so lovely. And having the blue shirts silhouetted but bouncing off that dark corridor going up, it's visually very satisfying.
Very tentive, you're right.
Yeah, and they're guarding the launch chamber. If you were playing a video game, you are getting to the end of level. You can see it. You just got to beat these last jumps, which they really do. They come down from the ceiling.
Classic.
Yeah, blow open the door to the chamber, and they go through. And look, you get your fire bat. It's vertical takeoff. It's super cool, man. That no, wait, that doesn't come with the Terradrome, yeah? You buy that externally, and then you put it in your Terradrome.
Negative. The Terradrome, thoughtfully, does include its very own firebat.
Oh my god, I need to play with that. I've never seen it. Never seen one. Is it a really satisfying launch? Does it feel nice? Is it placed in? Does it click in? Is it all just loose?
It's not loose. It sort of slots in. It wedges.
Okay.
It's sort of vertical stabilizers into the slots. The wheels, sort of fake wheels on the trailing edge.
Yeah.
It's sort of they go into these divots, so it's quite secure in there. The wings are folded in.
Does it ride a rail up, or
it's not a rail in so much as it's a platform that is linked with a sort of a steel ball chain.
Right.
And that goes over or like a pulley. And so there's a lever to one of the Terradrome doors. Is it this one?
You got to play out this scene, no? You got to get your Zartan fig in there and have Storm Shadow trying to slice through the canopy with his blade. I don't even know if that would work. I don't think that would work.
You can't get a figure right up to the firebat. No, the firebat is in a silo.
Why not? What do you mean?
Sealed. Like you can't access the firebat from the inside of the Terradrome. It's just in a kind of a launch silo on its own.
Not a clear silo. No. So you've got no doors or anything going in there.
No, sadly.
That is quite a shame.
Yeah, perhaps a missed opportunity, but the Terradrome, its main visual appeal is the exterior. Like the interiors don't really work. There's no staircase linking the top level.
I was going to say there's
the interior.
Does it feel not connected internally? There's not many doors or things like that, or little nooks.
And it's ironic that this sort of premiere appearance of the Terradrome is set in the rain, because the biggest criticism of the toy is that it's a roofless headquarters. Yeah, all the computer equipment is at the top level, and that's completely exposed to the weather. Ha ha ha. Many a joke have been cracked at the Terradrome's expense. But it has limitations as a toy. But I'm grateful for appearances like this and GI Joe the movie for giving us such great internal appreciation of what a Terradrome could be if it was scaled up. Yeah. Just this awesome futuristic base for Cobra.
Yeah.
And using that, you can kind of spin out your imagination and imagine these sort of smaller chambers of the Terradrome toy being part of a larger base. As I do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's sorely needed for Cobra, isn't it, to have a base playset,
And something as weird, as unconventional as the Terradrome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a castle, like a dusty old, like gloomy castle, which Cobra oftentimes did inhabit. This is like futuristic, but also sinister. It's very distinctly Cobra. Yeah. Cobra symbols everywhere, like sculpted. Great.
Well, Brad, we're going to close this out with page 22. A nice
best line of dialogue in the whole shebang.
Wait, which bit? So just off Cobra Island. Woo! Look at that thing go. You reckon it's gonna circle back to strafe us? No way. That thing is gone. Spirit, how's it going? Patching up ripcord. None of that, is it?
Oh, it's Spirit's like final cap on things.
Something strange here. Bullet hole and bloodstain on left sleeve, but no wound on left arm. Actual wound on right shoulder, but no corresponding hole in the shirt.
Doesn't take him long to cotton on, which is a great moment to leave it on.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, no one picks this up before it's too late, really. Like,
I mean, how can you?
Not does work.
You can't wait a month. You got to wait a month to find out. I do love that panel of the synergy of they've accomplished their mission, but look, we know all about what that means, that fire batters. We've just been there. And it kind of ties it all up. Very exciting, good storytelling. It's a high watermark for ARA for me. I think it's just a almost perfect issue.
Dense.
How are you on it? How do you feel about it? I can't believe you don't own it. I thought you would have sought it out. I really do. To me, it's an iconic issue.
I'm not going to seek anything out, Ben.
Oh, no. I forgot the world you live in. The doorbell rings. You get a knock at the door. Oh, it's issue 46. I found you. Yeah, I wish it was like that.
It must be appreciated in the flesh. No, this is a great issue to have to hand. So, yeah, maybe I should prioritize it.
Oh.
But the thing that struck me most about issue 46 is how it's just the newness of everything.
Right.
Like Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes going on a crazy rampage is something that happens every 5 issues. In modern GI Joe. GI Joe doing a recon mission and an infiltration mission on Cobra Island is something that happens every 5 issues in modern GI Joe.
Yeah.
But this is the first time those things happened in ARA. It all comes back to this. And that's spectacular. It's never been surpassed.
Yeah, I was going to say, did they ever do it as tightly as this, as good as this, as
a single
clean?
Issue. The infiltration team pull their boat up onto the shore within the same issue as they are seen departing Cobra Island. Like, that never happens.
Yeah.
So it just speaks to the pacing of this issue. It is.
I tell you, man, you read a book like this, and look, I hate to say it, but then you sit down and you try and read some of the new stuff. Oh, my days. It's like a different sport, man.
It
really is.
Echo. A distant echo.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to piss on modern Joe books. Like, this is just showing you how amazing these concepts were at their sort of novation.
Yeah.
When they were all fresh. It's just beautiful.
We are coming into peak Joe around this time as well. This book was selling gangbusters. And with good reason, because the quality of the actual writing and the quality of the artwork, and you had toys mixed in with that, it was a heady time. And Brad, that episode was for you, buddy. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope your daughter enjoyed it. I didn't say lever. He likes the Americanisms and loves all that.
Lever.
Lever. Lever. Presentation.
Aluminium. Aluminum. What? Aluminum.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, no, yeah, that's right. Aluminium. What else? Jeez, I don't know. There we go. Right.
Did you look at the letters page, Ben?
I didn't have a chance because I read this at a cafe. I literally read this at a cafe around the corner. And
must be nice.
You were like, we're going, we've got to go. I was like, okay, buddy.
Do it.
What we got? Who have we got?
Only 3 letters that they printed this week, but one of them is potentially the stinkiest letter I've ever read to anything.
Okay, who is it? Wade Sellers, Chester White, or Charles Mason?
That would be Chester White from Chicago, Illinois.
Chester White, you villain! What have you said?
He lays into this book hardcore.
Well,
I don't know if we want to read the whole thing. Maybe, I don't know.
Speaking of Cobra, why are they so disorganized? They bumble a lot. I mean, look, even at the end, though, even after all this criticism, I still say that the artwork is wonderful. There you go. So what's his major beef?
I'm not saying that I like your comic. In fact, I almost hate your comic. The
Wow.
only thing that keeps me buying it is the wonderful artwork. Not to mention that I like the figures a whole lot. Why do people switch storylines so much? I forget what I forget what each issue was about after I finish reading it. Unlike the other comics that I collect, I think the so-called good guys have stupid, silly, rotten personalities, and the bad guys are a disgrace to terrorist groups. And this is because your stories are boring, dumb, idiotic, stupid, unrealistic, not to mention that Larry Hama is writing the script. What?
Oh, the reply is
Thumbs down
fantastic.
to his stories. I do have to admit that issue 37 was so bad that I liked it, especially when Ripcord made the hard-to-believe miraculous leap off the trampoline to catch all those balloons, thus saving a lot of work he used to blow them up. But don't forget that even though Cobras are martial arts experts, the Joes can still defeat 1,000 Cobras and live on with only a few bullet wounds. Okay. Unnecessarily...
They printed it.
They did, and which I love. But do you think that this is a child? Surely. The tone, I was kind of
tween?
sending it up,
Yeah.
but it does feel like the tone is childish.
I mean, where was Chief in January of 1980? I think this is actually one of Chief's favourite issues, in
I
fairness.
would not be surprised.
Yeah, it might be a lot of people's favourite issue, or favourite arc, at least. Yeah, their reply is just, huh? All caps. That's good. I mean, what do you say to that? There's not much you can say. Oh, but letters pages back then, I mean, I still love letters pages now, but back then, I mean, that's all part of why I love the floppies, because you just get these little keepsakes, these timestamps of what people, boots on the ground, thought of this book back then from a kid's point of view. Or fascinating.
Some letters I recall even better than the storylines of the books.
Wow, that's amazing. That says so much.
I loved reading Postbox from the Postbox the Pit. Big time, especially when Larry jumped into the letters. Sometimes he would. In one of the Chasing Joe episodes, one of the letters pages I read from like also the 40s, maybe it was issue 49.
Okay.
Editorial said that they get about 700 letters every month.
They do not get 700 letters now.
700 letters every week, I think was the figure. Which...
Well, if you're shifting, if you're shifting that many books, and also,
it's the 80s.
Yeah, it was, and writing in was a thing to do on all things, like TV shows, live TV shows. There's always a letters bit, or write into the show.
That is a dedicated job to go through all of that and read it all. So hats off to editorial of the day. But that's astounding.
Yeah.
One of my favorite letters, as I wanted to get into, was it was clearly a child, and he was saying, I have Snake Eyes and my brother has Destro. Who would win in a fight? And Larry's response was, well, that depends entirely on who has which figure and whether you are bigger than him or not. Great.
That's so good. I read a comic called Saga, and that famously its letters page is incredible, because it's people from all walks of life. Like a lot of people writing in from prison, stuff like that. A lot of people like hating the book. And you're right, it is like the biggest part of each issue is reading that, and they've just expanded the letters page, like 3 pages. And it's just it just adds a whole nother shared reading experience of something real time. It's so cool. I love it. Love letters pages.
The biggest shame in reprints that the letters page cannot go along with them. Like that's so key. Such a huge part of the experience.
It is. Anyway. It's the footnote, isn't it? It closes out. It's almost like it's that little bit of reality after spending time in that world. Kind of brings it back into your world.
Snapshot of the time.
Yeah.
Nowadays we take to our keyboards, but back then, like, the letters page was the only way you kind of got in touch with a sense of community, other
Well,
people going through the same reading
Yeah.
experience as you.
The only way to get in touch with this community, get in the comments section. We want to hear from you. It's been a long show. Brad, that was issue 46. Hope we did it justice for you. I have been BenFlyingRetro. Follow me on Instagram. If you like hearing from me, you can hear more from me from podcast People Who Play over on Substack. S-Jubs, you're just doing the flagship. You're just doing them shows every week. Anything coming down the pipe? What's happening?
Well, this week we are definitely going to be featuring a figure or vehicle in our flagship show, but we have just done a show on the topic of a little flight of fancy. What might we have seen from GI Joe if they'd gone on past 94?
That is my sort of show. that
Cool.
sounds like peak water cooler or sixth form common room debate for me. Oh, I want to be part of that discussion.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Well,
So that is so fun.
what would you have liked to have seen from GI Joe 1995?
That's two hats. That is two hats because that's me now retrospectively actually liking some of the stuff towards the end of the run and the line, whereas at the time, not liking it. So at the time, I would have liked them to have gotten back to realism and green figs. But now I'm like, where was that trajectory going? I think it was going to probably be a much more global kind of vibe with different Joe sort of sleeper cells in different areas like space, like a desert bunch. I don't know, something like that. Like a totally global G.I. Joe, I think I would have liked. Were they kind of going that way anyway? I don't know.
I do know that there was a split. They were definitely going to lean more into the ninja side of things, but they were also going to refocus on the military.
Right.
Before it got pulled. Like they
I
were
would have
going to
liked
dust off the Whale was going to see re-release in 1995 in a kind of a grey, like a battleship grey color scheme.
Nah.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool.
It would have been cool, but come on, I just need it as it is. No, so I would have liked multiple pits. Like you got one in Europe, you got one in America, you got, like just pushed out more.
Okay.
I would have maybe, space. Maybe get a base on the moon, go interplanetary. What would have Cobra been up to? They probably, they're doing so many experiments and mods and upgrades. I think their figures would have become more like part mutant or I don't know. You got me
cooking with gas.
Cybernetic could have gone down that route. Oh crikey! Animals, could you got more animal-based things going on in there? Time travel.
Like
could we have done
animals?
Could we have had a time travel storyline? They can be quite annoying, but you could have done something like that. Go back, change Zartan shooting Serpentor. I mean, you got me going. We were meant to end the show, and now I'm just starting. Well, can I get a tiny insight into what you would have wanted, or are you like me? Do you have two hats? Have you got what little S-Jubs would have wanted at the time, which is more, and now as an adult and someone that understands marketing and strategy, what do you think they should have done?
No, I think my answer, if you listen to the episode, will be more along the lines of what had the trajectory that they were on continued, what we might have seen as a winning concept within the boardroom. And I mean, GI Joe did Captain Planet or Toxic Crusaders. GI Joe did Ninja Force, which is ostensibly just a Turtles riff. They didn't do Power Rangers. They didn't do Super Sentai. So I'm thinking a play concept where vehicles would combine to form, like you'd have a team of 5, sort of almost super-powered Joes.
Yeah, do you know what you could have done as well?
5 plucky teens.
Just you saying Power Rangers has kind of made me think of high school, and you could have had a subplot
Teen
with
Joes.
Well, yeah, because that was kind of big back then in the 90s. You could have had a really young crew. Maybe not high school, but maybe in like GI Joe training, or you could have released another comic, GI Joe Academy, we're going to call it. I am just going now. Yeah, GI Joe Academy, a load of snot-nosed yuppie lava. And maybe like some of them could have been
Sean Collins.
like the actual kids. Yeah,
Sean Collins.
I mean, look, S-Jubs, if we were in charge,
this shit
we would have lost the core fan base.
Oh, we would have had such a time.
It's funny how in the 90s they were flailing and they couldn't kind of get any traction because it was such a creative time. You would have imagined that one of these things that they were trying would have stuck. Like you just went through them. Like they did Eco Warriors. They tried to do a little bit of space. They went full ninja. Do you think they were just exasperated? Like, well, geez, what do you want? We're trying everything.
G.I. Joe was an innovator in the 80s, but G.I. Joe was a follower of trends in the 90s. Some people say that this kind of like becoming a sheep is what killed G.I. Joe. I argue that G.I. Joe was on life support before that, and by adopting these trends, it squeezed a little bit more juice out of the tank.
I think so too. I think you got 2 extra years because of all the different factions and things like that.
I didn't buy Ninja Turtles because I could buy Ninja
I was about to say, I think with this conversation, you have to do a cultural landscape. And it's kind of like, what was succeeding as G.I. Joe was dying? And the one thing I can think of mainly is Turtles.
Now.
Yeah, it's Turtles. And is it Power Rangers? What year?
Ben, by 1995, the Turtles were passé, dude.
No, but okay, fair enough. It was Power Rangers.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And I tell you what that's all about. That's the high school thing. That is kids looking at kids and seeing themselves reflected and being like, oh my God, my life's a bit like that. Imagine if it was like this. The military was just too far away. It wasn't accessible. And maybe the Gulf War had just happened and parents weren't into it and didn't want their kids playing with military figs. Who knows? It's interesting. Do you think that Power Rangers actually finished Joe off? Like,
nah.
You could put a name to the crime.
They absolutely passed in the doorway. They weren't in opposition with one another. Yeah.
Oh, well, can't wait for this show. This is going to be a great one. Is it a long one? I do like a long show. Do you get into the weeds?
Yeah, you can guarantee that. Well, I mean, what are you doing? We'll be recording in about 10 hours.
Oh, wait, sorry. I thought you were doing one of those really clever things where you've actually already recorded and you're pretending like you had.
Going to drop the pretense. No, by the time this episode comes out, Chasing Joe episode 33, this episode of GI Joburg would have already been published.
Okay, I'm super excited to listen, but can you, for the benefit of me, drop into the show some of my ideas? Can you put in there the GI Joe Academy and the high school element? I want to see how it goes down.
GI Joe Academy.
That could have been a comic book, man. And then it could have fed in eventually.
I feel like there would have been some resistance from G.I. Joe hardcore. We don't want to read about kids with guns.
Oh, yeah, I get that, but...
Men and women.
it's very neat at 1995. What's happened there, to put it bluntly, is you're getting a lot of people aging out, and what they failed to do was bring in another generation of children. I mean, that is literally what happened. There was no one to pass the baton onto. Yeah, shame. Anyway, wow. I mean, I ended this show about 20 minutes ago, but we've kept going. I think Brad's show has been one of our best yet.
Certainly an amazing issue to pass over. But let's call it a night, a day.
Let's call it.
Whenever you happen to be listening to this pod, thank you for joining us, and a righteous Yo Joe.
Yeah, Yo Joe.
Cobra!